A new poll shows that the Democrats are indeed headed for an election bloodbath in the 2022 midterms. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest poll that spells disaster for the Democrats, how even liberal rags like the Washington Post are admitting that the Democrats' majority is about to collapse, and why a number of other factors combined with this new poll suggest that the 2022 midterms are going to be a nightmare for Nancy Pelosi. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you as always. We are your daily antidote to fake news as we each and every day analyze current events in light of larger conservative trends to help you think better and feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Let's start with our video chat question of the day, shall we? Do you believe we're going to see a red wave for the 2022 midterms? Let us know in the comments section below. Or better, is this going to be a bloodbath for the Democrats? Let us know what you think, because we have a new survey out there that suggests precisely that, and we're going to find out why the case for a massive red wave is growing by the day. But first, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's BioTrust and their awesome immune system supporting product, Ageless Body. With our rapid advances in science over the years, there are much more powerful ways, more effective ways to boost our immune system than just taking mega doses of vitamin C. In fact, our sponsors over at BioTrust have combined four of the world's best immune supporting powerhouses along with that mega dose of vitamin C into their number one immunity support product, Ageless Body. Simply put, Ageless Body provides you 5 of the most powerful immune support ingredients available. And best of all, if you click on that link below right now, you're going to get Ageless Body at their lowest price ever, up to 51% off with free US shipping to boot. So don't wait, click on that link or go to agewithsteveturley.com. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. We have a major development with regard to the state of the 2022 midterms. A survey that was just published by the organization Democracy Core has found that the enthusiasm indicator for the 2022 is sky high among Republicans, outpacing Democrats by double digits. Now, this is huge. The survey found that 68% of Republicans remain engaged ahead of 2022, while Democrats have seen their engagement slip to 57%, which represents an 11-point cushion for the GOP. But it gets even better. The survey found that President Trump continues to dominate and define the GOP. Only 16% of Republicans identified themselves as non-Trump conservatives. Again, it gets even better here. In the battleground states that ultimately will decide the balance of power, only 9% of Republicans identified themselves as so-called non-Trump conservatives. So altogether, we're talking upwards of around 90% of the GOP solidly behind Trump, which means that Trump has indeed been largely successful in transforming the GOP into the Patriot Party. You'll definitely want to check out a video we did when Trump revealed that he was actively attempting to transform the GOP into the Patriot Party. You're really going to like that video. We argued there that all the conjecture back then over whether Trump was going to start a third party, right? Will Trump start a Patriot Party, or will he stick with the GOP and support Republicans primarying rhino establishment figures and the like? Which one? We pointed out that that was a false dichotomy. And it was a false dichotomy because Trump was and is currently turning the GOP into the Patriot Party. And we can see this from the poll. And by the way, a number of other polls, we can see that Trump has been largely successful in converting the GOP into the Patriot Party. It's been hard and continues to be hard, no question, largely because of the rhino neocon establishment leadership that's in the way. But as we saw last week with Liz Cheney, this Patriot GOP party ain't kidding around anymore. They're not going to tolerate that kind of never Trump or neocon nonsense spewed out of the mouth of the third highest ranking member of the GOP. So she got kicked out of her leadership position, and she's going to lose her primary in Wyoming. And then she could take her place in the junkyard of now defunct ex-Republicans like Michael Steele, who whined and complained about the GOP on the ultra-liberal networks over at CNBC and CNN. So we got some great news here. We've got massive enthusiasm among Republicans for the midterms. It's leading the Democrats by double digits. And that enthusiasm is bolstered by a 90% commitment to Trump's America First nationalist populist agenda. Now, these two factors alone, I think, justify Kyle Becker's headline, reporting on this news. New poll suggests Democrats are headed for election bloodbath in 2022 midterms. And I think he's absolutely right here, because we have to understand it's not just the enthusiasm gap that the Democrats have to worry about. We have to understand that obstacles that the Democrats face, one of the obstacles they face, is one that's marked American politics from its very beginning, and this is what's known as the pendulum swing in midterms. So historically speaking, the party that has the presidency doesn't just lose seats in the House during the midterms, they can in fact lose a lot of seats. According to Gallup, a president that's underwater, that is under 50% approval, can expect to see a loss of an average of 37 seats in the House. And as you know, that's if you're a regular to this channel, as you know, Biden has been fledgling around the 50% approval mark throughout his entire presidency. In fact, we did a video that you definitely want to check out on an ABC Washington Post poll that found that Joe Biden's approval rating at the 100-day mark of his presidency was, quote, the third lowest since tracking began in 1945. The third lowest of any president in the last 75 years. This is coming from two of the most left-wing media sites, ABC and Washington Post. So right now, we're talking upwards of about 40 seats that Democrats could lose in 2022. Now, of course, this is what we might call a recurring curse for the president's party. And the reason why the president's party tends to lose seats in the midterm is because the midterms take place during what's called a refractory period in the election cycle, okay? A refractory period is a period of time after a massive surge in political or national enthusiasm that's characterized by noticeable dissipation in that enthusiasm, right? This is what scholars have noticed. This is why it's so hard to maintain the level of political enthusiasm needed to win an election on into another election. It seems to be a relatively consistent pattern after a massive surge of enthusiasm. No similar mass enthusiasm could be generated for a considerable period of time afterwards, perhaps as long as several years afterwards. It's because of social exhaustion, where the fervency and the distraction of a political event get to a point where people, in a sense, say, look, I got to get back to my life and my responsibilities. And people just simply don't have the energy or the time to continue to give of themselves in terms of their time or attention or even finances. They just run out of the social resources needed to sustain the extraordinary level of mass political enthusiasm needed to win an election. So this is what's known as the refractory period, and this to a large extent explains why the party that won the presidency in the previous election doesn't have the social resources to go on to win the midterms a couple years later. Now, I think for obvious wink reasons, things are going to be even worse in 2022 because there ain't a whole lot of enthusiasm around Sleepy Joe. Plus, to make matters worse for the Democrats, they're going into the midterms with an unprecedented number of retirements. I mean, things just keep getting worse for them. But before we get into that, I am so excited to invite you to our brand new Patriot Entrepreneur Live event. We're holding it on June 4th and 5th. It is a virtual conference, so you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home, and you can secure your seat simply by clicking on that link below right now. If you're looking to be a Patriot entrepreneur who's currently frustrated, feeling trapped in your woke job, passionate about your work, but disheartened about your woke environment, or perhaps you're a current business owner, but you want to take your impact to the next level, you are going to love our upcoming Patriot Entrepreneur Live. I've invited top conservative entrepreneurs to join me and share their wisdom with you as together we build a world of freedom without sacrificing our callings and our talents. So I hope to help you live out your calling free from cancel culture, free from woke corporations, and free from the grasp of leftist ideologues, and give you all the tools you need to be living a life of complete independence. Now, prices are going up just before the conference, so you don't want to wait. Make sure to click on that link below before prices go up, and I'll see you for a weekend that promises to be a game changer for your life like never before. All right, so I don't know if you've heard about this. Wave of coming retirements puts Democrats' House majority at risk. Even the Washington Post is starting to panic over the growing number of Democrats, particularly in swing districts, who are announcing their retirements. This, of course, is a bit of a bellwether for the election, right? You take a look at which party has the most retirees, and you can potentially see who thinks they're not going to be in the majority after the next election. And that's what it looks like we're seeing being tacitly admitted among the Democrats. In fact, the Washington Post is reporting that just these retirements alone are enough to hand the GOP control of Congress. It's that bad for the Democrats. And then you add to all of this the fact that the new census numbers have decisively shifted political power southward to Republican strongholds in states like Texas and Florida and North Carolina, where those 3 states that voted twice for President Donald Trump, they're all set to gain a combined 4 seats in Congress for the next election, all of which are designed to go red. 2022 promises to be an absolute bloodbath, gang. And by the way, we haven't even mentioned all the election integrity laws that have been passed to safeguard the election from Democrat shenanigans. So far, over 360 election integrity bills have been introduced in over 40 states, with most successfully passing electoral reform just in time for the 2022 midterms. So altogether, at this point, things are looking very, very good for the GOP in taking over Congress. And with such an amazing enthusiasm from Trump's revamping of the GOP into a bona fide Patriot party, 2022 may indeed be a mere prelude to a potential red wave in 2024. Now, before you go, make sure to check out our latest video I just uploaded. It's on how the woke Twitterverse got triggered as Joe Rogan claims straight white men are being silenced by cancel culture. We look at what Rogan said about cancel culture. We take a look at how a number of others concur with Rogan on the dangers wokeness poses, particularly for the future comedy. And we see how Joe Rogan is actually more right than he could have ever imagined. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.